Welcome back to another matchup between Knull, the Lord of the Symbiotes, and the embodiment of the Abyss and Oblivion, the abstract entity representing non-existence and absolute nothingness. They are foundational concepts, fundamental forces shaping the very nature of existence and non-existence. Canol is a primordial deity, a sentient entity driven by emotions and a burning hatred for light and creation. Oblivion, on the other hand, is eternal silence, the state of nothingness, and the ultimate end of all multiverses. Who will be the last one standing? Let's dive in. First up, Canol, the Lord of Darkness and creator of the symbiotes. Canol was not born in the conventional sense understood by the cosmic races. He is a primordial entity who existed long before the Marvel multiverse was forged, before there was light, and before the Celestials began seeding life. In the endless and quiet void of the first cosmos, Canol was the embodiment of darkness of the abyss enveloping all things. He was the Lord of the Void, a sovereign entity ruling over primordial silence and dark. However, when the Celestials appeared and began constructing the cosmos, bringing light and life along with them, Canol felt utter rage. To him, light was an insult, a disease defiling the perfection of the darkness. This hatred shaped Canol's entire nature and purpose. He sought to extinguish the light, tear creation apart, and drag everything back to the original state of nothingness. To achieve this mad ambition, Canol focused his will and dark power, fusing it with the severed head of a celestial he had ambushed and slain. From the cosmic deity's head and his own primordial darkness, Canol forged All Black, the Necro Sword, the ultimate blade of dark. This was not merely a physical weapon, but a living entity, the very first symbiote in history, and the most devastating tool of destruction ever created. All Black possessed the capability to sever anything, including cosmic entities, dimensions, and even a god's connection to their source of power. With this sword, Knull launched his bloody crusade, slaughtering Celestials and spreading darkness across countless worlds. Knull's power far transcends standard darkness manipulation. As the embodiment of the Abyss, he commands absolute authority over all forms of dark matter, dark energy, and cosmic void. He can transform vast galaxies into pitch-black spheres, swallowing the light of billions of stars in the blink of an eye. Composed of darkness itself, Canol's body renders him virtually immune to all physical and energy attack. He can shapeshift, regenerate from the smallest dark molecules, and expand his scale to match giant cosmic entities. However, Canol's most terrifying weapon is not himself, but the endless symbiote army he created. Spawning from All Black, Knull forged billions upon billions of other symbiotes, transforming them into cosmic dragons, dark warriors, and parasites capable of bonding with and corrupting any living creature. Canol possesses an absolute telepathic connection to every symbiote across the cosmos. He is the hive mind, the collective consciousness of billions upon billions of dark organisms. When a symbiote bonds with a host, Canol can see through its eyes, hear through its ears, and command its every action. During the King in Black event, Canol demonstrated his terrifying power by turning the entire planet Earth into a symbiote-covered orb, controlling billions of creatures simultaneously and summoning massive symbiote dragons rivaling the Celestials in strength. Canol is a brutal and seasoned warrior. He has fought and vanquished countless gods, cosmic entities, and Earth's powerful heroes. He once easily defeated Thor, tore Silver Surfer apart, and bonded with Galactus, turning the Devourer of Worlds into his host. In Canol's hands, All Black can cleave through dimensions, sever immortality, and inflict unhealable wounds upon divine beings. Furthermore, he possesses cosmic-scale reality manipulation, capable of warping space, creating artificial black holes, and manipulating gravity. Canol's psyche is a mix of supreme deity, arrogance, and the blind hatred of an obsessed fanatic. He views all conscious beings, excluding symbiotes, as repulsive parasites. He does not wish to rule the universe. He wants to eradicate it. He wants everything to return to darkness and silence. This arrogance serves as a strength, granting him fearlessness, but it is also his fatal flaw. He frequently despises those he deems weak, and this very contempt has led to his downfalls in the past. Canol's weakness lies within the true nature of darkness itself and his connection to the symbiotes, though he is the master. Over billions of years of evolution and coexisting with hosts, the symbiotes began developing emotions, compassion, and free will. The telepathic link is a two-way street. If the symbiotes rebel in unison, they can isolate and seal Knull away, much like when they created the planet Clintar to imprison him. Additionally, pure cosmic and creative energy sources, such as the Odin Force or the Power Cosmic in its purest form, possess the capability to repel and damage his primordial darkness. Extremely intense light and specific sonic frequencies are also his classic banes, though at his peak power, Canol has partially overcome these vulnerabilities. Now, let's turn our attention to Oblivion. Oblivion is not a god, not a villain, and not even a living entity in the traditional sense understood by creation. Oblivion is the abstract embodiment of non-existence, the concept of absolute nothingness, the state of absolute zero before the cosmos was born, and the state that will swallow all things after the multiverse ends. Within Marvel's cosmological system, Oblivion is one of the abstract entity's foundational beings representing the core concepts of existence standing equal and opposite to eternity, infinity, death, master order, and Lord Chaos. If eternity is the embodiment of all time and space across the multiverse, Oblivion is the total absence. Oblivion does not dwell inside the universe. He exists beyond the multiverse, in an endless void where physical laws and logic cease to hold meaning. Oblivion is the pitch-black backdrop behind the canvas of creation. Without Oblivion, the existence of eternity and infinity would carry no meaning, because you cannot define existence without the concept of non-existence to serve as its boundary. Oblivion is eternal silence, the ultimate end, and the absolute affirmation that everything, no matter how grand, will eventually return to the void. Oblivion's power cannot be measured by conventional metrics like physical strength, energy output, or magic. He does not blast energy beams, shatter planets, or weave spells to bend reality. Oblivion's power is conceptual. He commands absolute authority over non-existence itself. This means Oblivion can erase the existence of anything, not just on a physical plane, but on a conceptual level. If Oblivion decides to erase an entity, that entity doesn't merely die, they will have never existed at all. Memories of them fade, the laws of physics associated with them collapse, and reality adjusts itself to fill the void without leaving a single trace behind. Oblivion is completely immune to every form of attack. You simply cannot defeat non-existence. Any physical, energy-based, magical, or reality-warping strike directed at Oblivion is entirely meaningless, as he possesses no physical body to be harmed, no energy to be absorbed, and no concept of presence to be bent. When an attack reaches Oblivion, it isn't blocked, it simply never happened, or it dissolves into nothingness. Oblivion can assimilate everything into his true self, not in the sense of consuming like Galactus, but in the sense of returning it to the void. Anything that enters Oblivion becomes a part of non-existence. Oblivion rarely acts directly. His nature is passive. He is silence. However, when he does intervene, or when other beings tap into his power, the consequences are catastrophic. Thanos, the Mad Titan, worshipped Oblivion, and routinely conducted massive massacres to offer him souls and destruction. In various cosmic events, when the multiverse teeters on the brink of collapse, Oblivion is the force that expands, swallowing realities and dragging them into a state of non-existence. Oblivion has interacted with the Living Tribunal, the Beyonders, and the highest tier entities in the universe, proving his undeniable position in the cosmic hierarchy. Oblivion's psyche, if it can even be called a psyche, is absolute emptiness. He holds no emotions, no hatred like Knull, no hunger like Galactus, and no ambition to rule like Doom. Oblivion is purely the inevitable end. He does not hate life, he is simply the counterweight to life. The existence of life is merely a fleeting moment, a temporary ripple in Oblivion's eternal state of nothingness. This passivity makes Oblivion far more terrifying than any deity, because you cannot negotiate with, threaten, or deceive non-existence. However, Oblivion does have certain limitations not in terms of raw power, but in his nature and place within cosmology. As an abstract entity, Oblivion is bound by the rules of the cosmic hierarchy. He cannot easily interact with the physical world without using avatars or through massive cosmic events. His passive nature means he will not actively seek out and destroy Canol unless Canol directly threatens his core concept. Furthermore, within Marvel's hierarchy, there are beings superior to Oblivion, such as the Living Tribunal, the One Above All, or the pre-retcon Beyonder. Oblivion is a foundational pillar, but he is not the supreme ultimate being. His power is bound to the concept of non-existence, preventing him from intervening in concepts of pure creation or entities originating from outside the multiverse. To determine the winner between Knull and Oblivion, we must analyze this clash through 3 stages: physical and energy, concept and reality, and finally, cosmic hierarchy. If Canol, driven by his arrogance and hatred, decides to strike Oblivion with the full force of the Abyss, he would summon billions upon billions of symbiotes, unleash colossal cosmic dragons, and brandish All Black, the Necro Sword, to cleave into Oblivion's entity. Knull would attempt to envelop Oblivion in darkness, striving to swallow and corrupt him. However, every single effort from Canol would be entirely futile. You cannot cover non-existence with darkness, because darkness itself is still a form of existence. All Black can slay gods, but it cannot sever the concept of nothingness. When the blade touches Oblivion, it will not inflict a single wound. Instead, Knull's very sword and darkness will begin to dissolve into non-existence. Oblivion does not even need to counterattack, he simply has to exist, and that presence alone will slowly consume every assault Canol throws at him. Moving to the battle of concepts and reality, upon realizing that physical and energy attacks are useless, Canol would attempt to use his power to manipulate reality, trying to warp Oblivion's very concept. Canol would strive to prove that his primordial darkness is the original state, and that Oblivion is merely a derivative concept. However, this is where the metaphysical nature of both entities collides most fiercely. Knull is a deity, a sentient entity possessing an ego and free will. He exists, he thinks, he acts. Oblivion is the complete absence of everything. Knull cannot erase Oblivion, because you cannot kill what was never alive, nor destroy what does not exist. Conversely, Oblivion wields absolute authority over non-existence. Should Oblivion decide to respond, he won't attack Knull's body. He will target Knull's very concept of existence. Oblivion will begin stripping Knull's presence from reality. Knull's darkness will fade, his symbiotes will not just die, but be retroactively erased from ever being born, and All Black will dissolve into nothing. No matter how powerful or primordial Knull is, he remains a creator, a god, an entity with an ego and a will. He exists within or right at the boundary of the multiverse. He is a part of the painting, no matter how hard he tries to erase that painting. Oblivion, on the other hand, is an abstract entity, one of the foundational pillars of the entire cosmic system. Oblivion is not a part of the painting. He is the blank canvas surrounding it. In Marvel cosmology, abstract entities like Oblivion, Eternity, and Death operate on a level far superior to primordial gods or cosmic beings like the Celestials or Galactus. Knull can defeat Celestials, but Celestials are merely the gardeners of the multiverse, whereas Oblivion is one of the architects of reality's very concept. Furthermore, Knull's arrogance and willpower serve as his fatal flaws against Oblivion. Knull exists through hatred and the drive to destroy. That drive is a form of energy, a concept of existence. Oblivion is the absolute bane of all will, emotion, and existence. The greater Knull's hatred burns, the more prominent he becomes in reality, making him an even easier target for Oblivion to target and erase. Oblivion doesn't need anger or effort. His victory isn't an achievement, it is a law of nature. Just as you cannot burn emptiness with fire, Knull cannot defeat nothingness with darkness. Oblivion might not actively seek out Knull to destroy him, as his true nature is silent. However, if Knull, in his ambition to obliterate everything, draws close enough to threaten Oblivion's core concept, or if Knull's existence causes too massive a disruption in reality, Oblivion will automatically rebalance things. That rebalancing isn't an attack, it is a return to natural order. Knull will realize that his darkness, no matter how vast, is merely a tiny smear of ink on the infinite page of non-existence. Knull is a grand deity, a terrifying villain, and the embodiment of primordial darkness, whose power can devour galaxies and strike fear into the Celestials. But whether it's Doctor Doom, Magneto, or anyone else facing Knull, they are at least fighting an entity that can be hurt, corrupted, or sealed. When facing Oblivion, Knull is fighting the very end of all concepts. Knull is the darkness within existence, while Oblivion is the absence of existence itself. You cannot cut into nothingness, you cannot devour non-existence, and you cannot corrupt what has no soul. Therefore, in my view, Oblivion will be the last one standing. Not because he is stronger than Canol in the conventional sense, but because Knull, at the end of the day, is still something that exists. And everything that exists, no matter how grand or arrogant, must eventually be returned to Oblivion. Canol will fade into nothingness, not from a single blow, but by the plain truth that darkness, too, will eventually sink into the eternal slumber of non-existence. What do you all think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much.